of other pieces that they may be looking at on the free agent market, aside from somebody like Pete Alonso. I haven't really heard many reports about it, but we've seen this player linked to the Mets before, previous off seasons as well. And I feel like this is a piece that is falling under the radar in the outfield market or the corner bat outfield market, maybe the DH market if you're a little bit creative, and that being Jurickson Profar, kind of hiding behind that potential of Teoscar Hernandez or Anthony Santander. Profar, we know that he came off of a career year, and to overall profile up, we know that he's a well-disciplined hitter offensively. He was a former top prospect, kind of came into his own a little bit later, coming over to the Padres in his first stint, but last year he had a career year. He was a starter in the All-Star game, I believe. He hits the ball hard, makes great quality of contact, which is in the top 10% as well in chase rate and whiff rate. Does not strike out a lot, knows how to put the ball in play, good situational hitter. He's a switch hitter, so that's something that would fit into the model of the Mets needing a left-handed hitter, but probably not much power from that side. Last year, 24 home runs, 53 extra base hits, slashing 280, 380, 459. Full season, was completely healthy, 668 plate appearances, 139 weighted runs created plus. Now, the only, I wouldn't say red flag, but coincidence, I'd say, throughout his entire career is that bottom line we have on the graphic there is when he's with the Padres, career 113 OPS plus, a 8.2 wins above replacement. Then you look at the rest of his career with the Rangers, the Athletics, and the Rockies, 81 OPS plus and a .2 wins above replacement. Obviously, he provides other tools, not really at an elite level, but he definitely can be versatile. We've seen him play the infield earlier in his career. We saw him play the outfield. Overall, he can give you types of Swiss Army knife types of tools throughout his game. A little bit where you look at it from him outside of the Padres organization. We know that the Padres have seen a lot of hitters and a lot of players underperform in their days. To see him overperform like this in San Diego, I think that is I don't think it's a weird option. I think it is a interesting option that I think would have a solid fit given the concerns you have with maybe Brandon Nimmo in left field, of where you can give him a day off. He's not the number one guy I would put in the DH position, but he's definitely, a bat that could do a lot of damage at face value. Andrew, what do you think about the possibility of Jurickson Profar? I know we've talked about him seldomly a little bit. The Mets have been linked to him before, but I think there's different ways you could look at it. It wouldn't be my first choice, but I think that it would be a solid addition if they were to pull it off.
Again, like you said, we'll start again with that obvious seems to be red flag is if he's not playing at Petco Park, which isn't a hitter's friendly paradise, he ain't doing it. He couldn't even go to Colorado and be a productive baseball player. So for that being a red flag. 2, for me, it doesn't fit what this team needs. If this was Profar earlier in his career when he was playing second, he was playing shortstop, when he was more athletic, sure, you can use them as that kind of Swiss Army knife, like you said, being able to play. Last year, he was only playing left field, DH, or first base. I don't need another one of these guys on this roster that is clogging up positions that we have a lot of guys, corner outfielders and first baseman or, DH types. And then, like we said, there's better options for what we want as a DH type. But again, if Brandon Nimmo's plantar fasciitis is a massive concern, you're going to need another, I wouldn't say defensive first out because you've got Tyrone Taylor and Jose Siri on the roster already, but maybe another guy where maybe Nimmo needs to take some more games at DH. So you would need another guy that you can trust out there who's who is a better bat than a guy like Tyrone Taylor or Jose Siri. Again, for me, I don't see I don't see a fit. I mean, yes, you can say you can find a fit. I think it's easier to find better quality of hitters. I think bat first mentality should be here. Because, again, like I said, with Taylor and Siri on the roster, you already have 2 guys that can, rotate around playing left and center. If you're going to move Soto DH, you have a couple of those guys. And obviously, if Brandon Nimmo is healthy, he's fine in the corners. So, for me, I would prioritize just a one strictly DH, but the Mets don't seem to just want to get one DH, and again, obviously Santander being the best option. But again,
Yeah.
he is better than Jesse Winker because he gives you a switch hitting ability, which you like to have another switch hitter lower in the lineup. And you've seen he's been pesky in big moments, obviously against the Mets. He has great
Yeah.
numbers, and obviously in the postseason in 2023. But throughout his playoff, he's had some decent moments in this postseason career. So, I mean, if they signed him, I wouldn't be ecstatic. I'd be like, okay, again, he'd at least give you another productive bat. I get he's just not like his early form where I say, okay, he can play a little second base, play a little short, like
Yeah.
Kike Hernandez, who you can just literally throw anywhere. Yes, he's not great defensively, some of this, you can play him there. Again, if this was earlier in his career, I think I'd be a lot more willing to do it. But I think just because now he's only strictly playing left field, DH, or first base, I think the Mets have a lot of guys, and there are better versions of those types of guys on the free agent market as a switch hitter, so that I think they should prioritize. But again, if you said tomorrow pass and puts out a tweet, the Mets sign Profar, it's fine. It gives you some depth, emergency, because we love just in case of emergencies for Nimmo if
Yeah.
that foot is really bothering him. So again, it's fine. I just think there are better options on the market that they should prioritize.
I don't know if he's looking at DH money. Profar, he probably is looking for outfield money after the year that he just had, and I feel like he's going to want to cash in that regard. I think that Profar is definitely a fit to the profile of somebody like David Stearns, someone who doesn't chase, someone who puts the ball in play, a good situational hitter, can pop a few for you as well from the pull side. I think that the only thing that would be a positive fully for me, bringing somebody in like Jurickson Profar, I think that pretty much just makes an official stance that Starling Marte is going to get traded, or Starling Marte will not be on the team. That's the main thing that I am really, really good with. It means bye-bye Winker as well, so maybe it's something that does get cut off in that way. With Winker being the disciplined hitter that he is, I think that it can definitely be replaced in that production with a guy like Jurickson Profar on that free agent market, because he is a well-disciplined hitter. So you never know what the look from, let's say, I don't know, the view of David Stearns saying that he wants maybe just one of these switch hitters that can also give you some outfield flexibility or give you some positional flexibility, as compared to somebody like Jesse Winker, who is one of the worst defenders in the game, and then also looking at it from the view of JD Martinez. The thing is that compared to Winker, I think Profar is definitely going to be a little bit more expensive in that regard, and I don't think that they're going to, bring him out here just to be a DH and an emergency left fielder. Like, I feel like if you want an emergency left fielder and you want to just kind of go into that market with the right amount of value, it makes a lot more sense just to re-sign Jesse Winker and bring him back, if that makes sense. But overall versatility as an offensive guy, I think he is an offensive weapon at his best, but pretty much all of his best has been with one team, which is so weird. And like you said, Colorado being the offensive launch pad that it is, and him having one of the worst, if not the worst year of his career there, it definitely shows a little bit more of red flags. I don't know if there was injury history there, but it seems like he's been relatively healthy, banged up forever in Texas.
Yeah.
But going into his 30s, I think it is a good fit. It's just not the direction I would go in. And Jay-Z saying, if you can count on a 115 to 120 weighted runs created plus from Profar, that would be great, but it does seem a little risky. And that's the thing. It's like, get that 115 to 120 bat from him, and it would be very productive because he can give you a lot of contact and power from both sides and put the ball in play, give up damage opportunities like some EDHs we have had in the past. We've only really seen him do it with San Diego, which is really, really odd. Obviously, giving the leeway for some of the young guys to come in. If you were to look at the projections, straight off of projections, let's say he does this with the Mets at a 32-year-old season, the Steamer projections that are coming in over 650 plate appearances, he were to slash 258, 349, 408 with a 116 weighted runs created plus, give you 18 homers from that left field type of DH production. I would prefer more of a 30 to 40 type of home run bat at that DH, of course. but there's not really many of them out there. So as it continues to limit in regards to somebody like Santander that they probably would not want to pay for in that regard, the overall options of Jesse Winker, I think it's a lot more smart to kind of look at the extra bat as Jesse Winker and not Jurickson Profar, who is more of a red flag out of San Diego than compared to just as an overall bat that could be the DH option, if that makes sense.
And then again, also it just depends on how Stearns wants to build the rest of this lineup out. Is he looking for? We keep clamoring for the thumper. Maybe he's not a thumper. Maybe again he's just trying to find these 120 bats and have a lineup full of 120 bats. I mean that's a productive lineup. I mean, God forbid you had 9 guys with a 120 WRC plus. Yeah, it's a pretty good damn lineup. Opportunistic and get them on a heavy laden 1-year deal. Sure. Again, there's never a bad thing. I just think I think Kansas City Royals make a hell of a lot more sense. But again, are they willing to spend that money again for a second straight year? I think there are teams that fit better, Pirates as well, who again, you don't know if they're going to spend the money, but definitely need Profar more, and they'd see him on that team would be a higher priority than just he would be the 5 or 6 hole hitter for this team.
Probably the Padres are looking to retain him. You never know. One other thing that I feel like that would make it a little bit better, the overall protection for the bottom part of the lineup. We've seen a lot of the chasing that has happened from the righty standpoint. You're going to get a lot of that from Jose Siri from the bottom of the lineup. You'll get a decent amount of that from somebody like Tyrone Taylor from the bottom of the lineup. So for that to be a little bit protected to get to the top of the lineup with somebody like Profar, that probably would be something that can benefit this lineup as a fit. I don't think that he has a fit on this team defensively right now, unless you're looking at preserving the health of Brandon Nimmo, which I feel like has already been something that they've thought about recently, especially with moving him to left field last offseason, bringing in somebody like Harrison Bader, trading for a guy like Tyrone Taylor. I mean, you just never know. Obviously, looking in the outfield market, I think that they're going a little bit more bat heavy in that regard. Yeah. But I would say that a guy like Jurickson Profar, a guy like Anthony Santander as well, pretty much takes Marte out of the equation, which is something that I personally want. I know there's still people who believe that he has value, but again, we're talking about a Starling Marte that is 36 years old. We're talking about a Starling Marte that is so banged up and so removed from that 2022 All-Star selection that he had. Easy coming in is that Profar produced in San Diego because their lineup is better than lineups in Oakland and Colorado. Yes and no. I would say it's yes and no, because I do think there are competitive ABs that you get from a guy like Jurickson Profar no matter what, but you just really have not had the greatest results. If you were to look at his last few seasons, or just overall plus, just from a plus bat standpoint, because again, he's not a shit-wrecking bat in that regard compared to somebody like Anthony Santander. 2018, a 107 bat, 2019, a 90 bat, 2020, which if you count it or not, 113, 87 in 2021, 110 in 2022, 78 in 2023, and then last year 139, which was a career year for him. So again, it's not really a guarantee. I still do like the bat upside from somebody like Jurickson Profar on maybe a short-term deal like 2 years, something like that, but he probably is looking to cash in. He really is probably looking to cash in. I think that there's only a few teams that are willing to give him that type of money. 3 years, $40 million to somebody like Jurickson Profar. If he's looking for term, you never know. Let Marte DH and keep him away from playing the outfield. That will take the stress off of his knee and we'll get more out of him. I don't want to see Marte in the DH position. I just don't want to see it. We have been very avid into the way that we just don't want to see Starling Marte be in that conversation for the designated hitter. The designated hitter needs to provide some pop, and he has not hit a home run since the middle of June, I think. I'm pretty sure if Frank is in the chat or watching live, let us know. I'm pretty sure he has that information on taps. And I'm pretty sure he had, like, in that span from when he did not have a home run, he had like 4 extra base hits. So again, for a guy to hit singles against left-handed pitching and get paid $20 million, we've said this so many times, it makes absolutely no sense. And I feel like with 1 year left on his deal to cover part of that contract, they got to move him. I do think that they have to move him. Do I think that he's going to get moved? Who knows? We know that we've heard reports of that possibly happening, but when it comes to them looking at other bats or other outfield bats on the market, it does tell me that they're looking to make Marte an expandable piece on this roster. And hopefully that comes to fruition. I don't know if it does, but we'll see.